Welcome to the Broadside Podcast.
With host, my dad, Andy Elliott.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Broadside Podcast. I am Andy Elliott, and today marks 1 year and 1 day since dropping my first episode. While this is being recorded, it'll probably be about a year and a week when I actually get it finished, edited, and put out there. But I just want to say I appreciate everybody that's taken the time to listen to me and the people that I have on and my efforts at trying to spread some more information around. I've learned a lot in the last year. I've met a lot of great people. It's been a fun journey. I want to continue doing what I'm doing. So if you do listen and you do like what you hear, go ahead and give it a share. I'd appreciate that. But let's get down to it. The episode today, I sat down with Kelsey Ross from the Conservation Coalition of Washignton and Lynn from the Sportsmans Alliance. If you're like me and don't know who the Sportsman's Alliance is, like I didn't 2 years ago, this would be a great episode for you to listen and kind of figure out what they are and who they are and what they do. So we get into that, the history of the Sportsman's Alliance, a little recap of the fundraiser that just happened in Centralia, and what to look forward to or not look forward to coming down the pipe here in Washington State. But once again, appreciate you guys. Keep listening and shoot me a message and a comment. I like to hear some feedback every once in a while. So if I suck, let me know. If you like what you're hearing, let me know. I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one. All right. Yeah, so we'll just go ahead and get started. If Kelsey wouldn't mind introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, so I'm Kelsey. I'm a resident of the west side of the state of Washington. I have been an outdoor enthusiast and wildlife enthusiast my whole life. Always been interested in hunting, but it wasn't until 6 seasons ago that I started deer hunting. I am a mother of 3 kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom now. Previously, before having children, I was a butcher and ran a butcher shop here on the west side. Can't really think of too many other things to say as other than I'm sick and tired of where things are going here in Washington State and decided to step in and get involved.
All right. Thanks, Kelsey. Brian, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Yeah, you bet. First, thanks for having me on and sitting down and talking, and thanks for coming out to the event last week and supporting us and stuff. We tried to sit down there, but a little loud and got a little crazy. So thank you for having us on. I'm Lynn, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the Sportsmans Alliance. I've been here for, it'll be 10 years in October. So I've been here for a while. Before that, I freelanced, kind of did a little everything, wrote for everybody, did TV, just about whatever. Prior to that, I was senior editor at Outdoor Life magazine, so I got to live in New York City and work in New York City. Before that, I was senior editor at ESPNOutdoors.com for 6 years and helped launch that. Ran the conservation section and the sporting dog section, headline news. So I've been in the industry, it'll be 24 years this year, in a couple months. Wow. I don't know what the last 2 decades have done, but yeah, I was born and raised in Washington State, born in Spokane, raised in the Columbia Basin, Moses Lake, and Great area. My stepdad got me hunting in that area, part of the country, when I was about 10 years old, and been going ever since, and made a career out of it. So it's been great and fun, and I'm passionate about protecting it, and passionate about our rights as individuals, and fighting for the right thing. Definitely on that side, and when it comes to hunting and conservation.
Right on. Well, yeah, I appreciate you both coming on, and I don't know, maybe it's me, but Kelsey, are you having kind of a hard time hearing Brian at all?
He sounds okay to me.
Okay, could just be me. Let's see. All right, a little off course there. That's fine. So yeah, we tried to sit down. It was a little loud at that Sportsman's Alliance event in Centralia. If you guys weren't there, you missed out. And then it was just, I didn't really want to start a podcast in the middle of an auction either, and take away from any, of the attention for that. So which was fine. I didn't, I was just hoping for something, but so talking about that, how'd you guys think that went? How was that for as a
Went great. I mean, it was fantastic to see that turnout. Like, we don't do a lot of these. Like, most of our stuff, in the past, pre-COVID, we usually just had like one big fundraiser in Ohio, and that'd be like 500 people in a night. And when COVID happened, it kind of allowed us to get away from that model. So we've gone to a raffle model, and that's what we do every year, starting around September. We do a big mega raffle, and it's open to everybody. Who we can't advertise in every state like Washington, because of state laws, but Washington people can enter it and buy a ticket. We just can't advertise to them. But like this year, it was $618,000 worth of prizes. I think there was 10 trips to Argentina, like 8 or something different safaris to Africa, loads and loads of guns, ammo, and silencers, and I mean, just everything. I mean, I can't believe the package they put together. But we kind of just started doing these fundraiser deals, the one that was up at Scoop and Brewery a couple, back in September, was really the first one. We had no, expectation. We didn't know what to expect. It's like 10 people going to show up or 100 or what, and kind of going into this, doing this one, we're talking with the guys, boots on the ground, and the first are kind of like, I don't know, we'll see. And then they started feeling more and more confident as we got closer. And yeah, I mean, I did a rough count, just kind of walking through, and I counted 200 to 250, people there. So for a Thursday night, when it was cold as heck out there and snowing on the west side, I don't think we could ask for anything more. So it went really well.
Yeah, I think I did kind of a rough guess on numbers too, and that's kind of what I came up with as well. I definitely got there early, and we were getting kind of close, and I was kind of like looking around, and I was like, oh man. And then it was just like a flood of people. I was like, whew, it worked out awesome. So
Yeah, no, it went great. So no, we were very happy, and we're looking forward to hopefully doing some more, maybe down in the Portland, Vancouver area, and one over here on the east side in Spokane or something. Is what I'm trying to look at and find a spot over here that would be good to do it at. So if there's anybody out there listening to this that has some ideas, let us know.
yeah. And we'll have to talk a little bit more about that too. I've been chatting with a few people here in the Yakima, Ellensburg area with some places. So after this or whenever, maybe I'll shoot you an email or something. So there's a lot of people I've found that might not, like me a couple of years ago, not even aware of what Sportsman's Alliance is. What's some of the history of what you guys are and what you do?
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing we run into. I mean, even like I'm going to SHOT Show next week, and a lot of people even at SHOT Show don't know who we are, or they've heard of us but not quite sure. We've always been a really small organization. Like right now, I think we're 17 people, and that's including the front desk gal and the accountants in the back, So we're small, pretty mobile, reactive organization. It's been around, believe it or not, since 1976. And formed in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. So in the 70s, the animal rights movement, that's when they really got political. I mean, this whole animal rights argument's been going on since, Greek philosophers and the Pope and everybody's weighed in on this throughout history. But they really politicized themselves in the 70s. And they came into Ohio and put a ballot initiative together to stop trapping, figuring we can stop it in Ohio, we can take it other places. That's a pretty one to take down. Well, they put it on the ballot. A bunch of business guys got together, wildlife managers, from the DNR there, biologists, just your average Joe rod and gun club hunter dudes, and they pushed back. First thing they did was started raising funds, because when it comes to a ballot initiative, that's what it boils down to: money and airtime that you can buy to get your messaging out there, get the right message out there. So I mean, I interviewed one of the founders a couple years ago. I got to put that together on video because he tells stories that they were lining up, bringing sacks of cash, right downtown Columbus. And cops like, you can't do this. You can't be here. Like, well, you tell them. And they had a line of cars with Rod and Gun Club guys raising money. And they found the right message and booted them out. And then all these guys just went back to work. They're like, our job is done here. Well, then they, of course, went to California and a couple of other states and started pushing the initiatives. And so the other states would call them like, hey, how'd you guys do this? And so they would fly out to California and be like, first thing you got to do is start raising money, and they would pitch in money and start raising money. And, pretty soon they saw a need, to fill in for these ballot initiatives. And then in the legislature, you start seeing more bills coming. So they formed what became the Sportsmans Alliance. Back at the time, it was the Wildlife Legislative Fund of America, and that's what was the original name. And so that was the genesis for it all. Now, the Sportsman's Alliance today is pretty much the same. We're small, but we're a C3 and a C4. We have a foundation and the alliance side. So that allows us to lobby. And so we're working all 50 state legislatures, it allows us to work in ballot initiatives, and it allows us to work in state and federal courts, so we can sue or we can join cases or whatever. So we can kind of provide a holistic defense for us, for sportsmen. So that's the quick down and dirty history. And we've been doing it for almost 50 years now. And, it's pretty exciting.
Thanks for putting a face to the name, or I guess a name to the face, because people have been seeing that Lorna Smith picture with the red SUED across her forehead. And, now they will know that that's you guys. Yeah. Yep.
It's, that's what we can do, being the foundation, being able to sue on one side as well as lobby on the other. So a lot of different conservation organizations or advocacy organizations can only do one or the other. So that's the nice thing that we have, is pretty holistic. There's not a place that they can hide or that they can attack from that we can't intercept them.
So, anybody that's asked me, and maybe this isn't the best way to explain it, but we have the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for elk, and the Mule Deer Foundation for mule deer. And I kind of explained to people that you guys are kind of the foundation for hunters, right? Like the preservation of hunters.
Yeah, no, it's we work with all of those groups, right? The name Alliance pretty much describes us very well, because we work with anybody and everybody in the industry. SCI, REMF, whoever, mule deer, everybody supports us. They work with us. A lot of them give us money financially to support, to fight, to protect them. Because like I said, a lot of different groups can't lobby or they can't sue, but we're still protecting their interests. So they'll support us financially or help get the word out and stuff. But yeah, that's, every hunter should belong to at least 3 organizations. You can go broke joining all these different things, but you should pick 3, and one should be your gun rights, one should be your favorite critter group, and we believe that the other one should be us to protect your hunting interests. So you got your hunting rights, your gun rights, your conservation of your favorite critter, and so that's kind of where we're at. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Kelsey, I met Kelsey at the Skookum deal. That was when was that? That was
September 12th.
Yeah.
Like that.
So, maybe for a little bit of a recap of what you guys were involved in 2023. It doesn't have to just be Washignton. Maybe there's some cool stuff you guys were a part of.
Yeah, it was, busy. We got new software that allowed us to even engage in more stuff, so I think it was about 1,400 bills we were monitoring nationwide, and we sent around 400 alerts to throughout all 50 states. A couple of the states in the southeast and stuff are pretty safe. It's more like, hey, this is what's going on. The session just kicked off. Not a lot, but then there are some, Washington, for instance, Wisconsin had some, where it's multiple alerts, and because it's an all hands on deck fight. So we've been pretty busy, and if you go to the website, you can see our heat map as bills start getting introduced. The states get more and more orange, and you can actually click on your state and see how many bills are being introduced and broken down between hunting, fishing, trapping, fishing game commission, sporting dogs, what kinds of buckets we have them in. And our people are actually monitoring more than that, but that's what we have out front. We monitor a lot of other stuff, gun bills, especially because those can morph and have amendments put into them or a change. So they're monitoring that stuff all the time. I mean, I honestly don't know how they do it, how they keep track of it, different committee meetings, where they're going, when an amendment gets put in and taken out, or it gets folded into something. I mean, I do not understand that side of things, but they make it happen. And, then we'll send out an alert. So it was a busy year throughout all the states. A lot of it is predator management stuff like we're seeing here in Washington. You can kind of see that theme throughout the West. Kind of different parts of the country have different things, but one of the big initiatives we had was we petitioned U.S. Fish and Wildlife for the wolves. So we've been fighting the wolf to delist wolves for almost 20 years now, and we delisted them 3 times. And then they sue, the Humane Society of the United States, Center for Biological Diversity, Sierra Club, all these different groups, Defenders of Wildlife. There's a gazillion of them. They'll sue and win some technicality that says, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, put them back on the endangered species list until Fish and Wildlife processes to your dots decide. But I think it was 2017, 2018 was the last court case when we lost it. They put the wolves back on the endangered species list in the Great Lakes states, right? But the big piece was they put them back on, said Fish and Wildlife, jump through the hoops. You have to consider historical range, suitable habitat within that historical range. You don't have to reintroduce them there, but you at least have to show, basically, show your work, type thing. Like when you're a kid doing math, you couldn't just write the answer down. You have to show your work. So they told them to do that. And then a key piece of it was that there was an argument the Humane Society of the United States had and we had, and they said you can't delist by distinct population segment. Distinct population segments are regional areas where the animals are found. So the Great Lakes states, Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin is a distinct population from the Rocky Mountain states of Wyoming, Idaho, and Montana. So the argument they had was you can only list endangered species onto the ESA. You can't delist them. And we said, no, it goes both ways. It's not a one-way street. It's not Hotel California where you check them in and they stay there for all day long, and the judge agreed with us. We said at the time, like, this is a short-term loss. Yes. Long-term, we got the point we needed. So this is like a big chess game, right? It keeps going on and on. But they're starting to run out of moves. So what happened was, and we just petitioned them, in July, Fish and Wildlife, to delist the wolves so it meets all the criteria of the Endangered Species Act, and it meets all the criteria of what the judges have said. Consider this, do this. So it was make these their own, make the Great Lakes wolves their own distinct population, make the Rocky Mountain ones are already their own distinct population or delisted, make West Coast wolves another DPS, create a new DPS for the West Coast wolves. Because here in Washington, you got all the wolves over here in Stevens County and they're spread. Now they're spreading over to you guys, right? Which fulfills the state plan. Well, the fear kind of is that, oh, as they move over there, they're not numerous enough yet. And so the other side is going to argue that, oh, we need to stop hunting, or not allow hunting, keep them listed on the Endangered Species Act until all of them are recovered throughout Western Washington, Western Oregon, California, and keep playing this game. We're saying, no, create a separate DPS over here that you can manage these guys differently than you manage the Rocky Mountain ones, and you manage these guys, and create another DPS for everybody else that doesn't fall into those. Well, that was a really big piece, and something that they should be coming up with a comments and releasing some news on that come here in about 3 weeks to a month. And so we'll see what they say. That was a really big one. And then again, just a bunch of state stuff that bounces all over the place, with Washington being on the top. Top red flag sinking ships there is.
I noticed that was very orange on that map.
Yeah, and we just started. Like, all the states just started, so we haven't even hit it yet. And here in the next week to 2 weeks, it's going to start getting just crazy. What we're doing, 5 or 6 alerts a day, across the nation, if not more. And then monitoring others, and it's from the end of January until mid-June. It's pretty much all hands on deck, just trying to keep up with it. And it's a tough battle.
Yeah, and this year should probably be crazier too, being an election year.
Yep. And that's part of the scary thing with, Colorado and the ballot initiative, that gets qualified and everything, that it's going to be a problem because it's an election year. So people that are predisposed to voting that way are definitely going to be turning out. So that's not a good thing.
So speaking of Washington, and my agenda, I wrote WTF is happening in Washington. So I don't know if you can break that down for some of the people. And then next down, I kind of wrote down in layman's terms, because I brought Kelsey along because I'm kind of a caveman and she's way more versed in this kind of stuff than I am. And I know I hang out with a lot of cavemen who might not understand what's going on very often. So I don't know if there's a way you can break it down for us.
Oh yeah, no, I speak redneck. I grew up in the Columbia Basin, man.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I talked to Todd, who you talked to, Kelsey, and he's, uber smart, got a law degree, got a PhD in surveys and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, just tell me this so I can tell this to my buddies.
Yeah.
Translate really smart to me, Yeah, what's happening in Washington? It's just a cluster, to be honest. We said it when we sued LORNA. We said it's basically a political cabal from the governor down. They have what they want. Nobody in the legislature is stepping out of line to hold Inslee accountable. He's ruling this place with an iron fist and pushing his agenda. That's basically what it comes down to. He does whatever he wants, regardless of the law. Ferguson is right there backing him up. The legislature said they won't step out of line. We talking in different coalitions and different people, different organizations, we floated bills up to them and talked to them, and they're literally like, the governor's not going to sign anything that reduces his power. We're not going to step out of line. So literally it's just a political cabal, and they're just running roughshod. They're making hay while the sun is shining and doing whatever they want, in this state. A lot of states, especially back east, but almost all the other states, there's a few that don't, but Washington is the main one. We're just rife for it. We're a perfect setup because all the governor does is appoint commissioners, right? They don't even have to be confirmed by the Senate. They're supposed to be, but they don't have to be, So he can put whoever he wants in there, and that's it. And that's what he's doing in the Senate. There's really no way to fall back on it, just the way the law is written. And so they're doing what they want. They're running full steam ahead. Wildlife for all, and which an offshoot here is Washignton Wildlife First. And they're running full steam ahead with the rewilding idea, and that's protecting predators. And this whole Disney idea that nature balances itself. I mean, I believe that was before, but it doesn't work that way, and especially with man being on the landscape the way we are. It's even heightened more. When you have these small being relative, but basins of wild areas, and as you start adding more and more predators to it, something's got to give. I mean, it's just simple. It's not hard to figure out. Something's got to give, and it's going to be your prey species, and that's where they're going with it. They just doing whatever they want, and there's really not a lot of recourse.
Yeah, I know that's I saw Kelsey nod her head when you said rewilding. I know that's her favorite thing.
Oh, I love taking on that subject.
Yeah. So with that being said, I know that there was just a bunch, and I seen you guys post some of it, the gun bills that just dropped. And then there's the SJR. And so other than that, is there anything else coming down the pipe that people need to know about that you can think of?
In Washington, I mean, right now, that's what's there. I mean, there's pre-filing, stuff. The one bright spot we have is this is a short session. That's the only bright session. So it's 60 days. So everything has to be out of committee by the end of the month, unless it's a finance one. So like the ammo tax, 11%, that gets an extra week, to pass out of committee. So everything's got to pass out of committee by the end of the month. I got it for another month, moving from there. That's going to be the only bright spot. I mean, it's interesting to look at Washington and what's happening with the ammo rights stuff and the rewilding and what the commission is doing. Well, what Inslee's doing when he stepped in again, talking about wolves and depredation issues. The commission, his own commission, who is anti-hunting for the most part, or pro-predator, however you want to say this, said, no, we're not going to take this. And for the second time, Humane Society Center for Biological Diversity appealed directly to the governor, and he came back and slapped him on the hands and told him to fix it. But how that's paralleling with the gun stuff, they're just full out on both of them, and the gun stuff. It gets a little frustrating sometimes, and you guys live here, so it's like, when is enough? Like, when is a gun bill finally going to be enough? Like, it never is, and they just keep taking it and moving, pushing that ball down the field and moving like goalposts every session, like, oh, we just want 10-day waiting periods for handguns. For this session, it's a 10-day waiting period for all guns. Oh, you have to pass this background check and you have to do this. Oh, now you have to get a permit to purchase, take a test. Now on top of the test, you have to take a live fire test. And on top of that, now we're going to increase the ammo tax by 11%. So they're trying to make it harder and harder and more expensive for us to live our lifestyle and our culture, because they disagree with it and whatever else. Yeah. Sorry, I think I just went down a rabbit hole. So I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
Yeah, you're good.
It's a mess here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andy.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Between the legislator and these, I don't know, commissioners gone rogue, it's been so relentless, and it can be hard to have hope for the future of where things are going in the state. It's, I've been on some of the inside of it. I've seen some things that I probably wasn't supposed to see with these commissioners. And yeah, it's been crazy. And I completely understand why people are scared with where things are going. Do you think that there is hope ahead?
I'd like to think there is, and we're going to fight. Like, I mean, Lorna sits there and slams the Sportsman's Alliance. I don't know, there's a leaked email that people say she leaked. I don't know if she leaked it or not, but it was leaked, and Center for Biological Diversity used it as evidence in their mountain lion and bear petition. But says we're an out-of-state organization, which we are, but we have members in the state. And my point is, I was born and raised here. I'll go down swinging. If we're gonna lose, it's always been my philosophy that if I get in a fight and I lose, I'll lose. That's fine. But the other person's walking away with black eyes, missing teeth, and it's gonna be bloody. So we're gonna go down swinging if we're going down. Is there hope? Yeah, I think so. And as we had that fundraiser in Centralia and up in Everett, the legislature's against us. The governor is against us. It's that third branch we have to focus on now. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is that third branch of government. And you sit back and you start thinking about the founding fathers and how smart they were making these checks and balances. That's literally our only place to go right now, courts. And that's an expensive process and a slow process. I mean, we sued Lorna, last June? And we're still fighting that fight, even though she lost. And they agreed to a settlement. Now the Attorney General reneged on that, and they're taking it to the Supreme Court. So the court process is going to be about the only way we have to go now. And it's expensive and it's slow. The other hope is that whoever becomes the next governor isn't mired so ideologically in this stuff. Inslee and his wife, who's pushing this, that's who's pushing this. So hopefully, whether it's Reichert, Bird, whoever, even Ferguson, hopefully he isn't so ideologically driven against hunters, and pro animal rights, and it's not worth it. I don't know. But those are the hopes I have, is one, the court system works and checks and balances work how they're supposed to, and the letter of the law is followed. And two, whoever becomes the next governor, understands what I bring to the table and what they're doing, and how this needs to be balanced.
Sorry, the internet was cutting out there for a second. Yeah, I don't. You can go ahead and keep going, Kelsey. I've been pretty much talking the whole dang time, so.
Oh, I just wanted to piggyback on you talking about our next governor. It is kind of scary that it's the Ferguson and him being an attorney general in his office that are defending Lorna right now.
Yeah, no, that's and that's just a question I'd love to have somebody, a reporter or somebody, ask him why. Why is the Attorney General's office representing it? We didn't sue the commission. We didn't sue the state. We sued Lorna personally. The state elected to represent her. They didn't have to, but they elected to. And then they lost. And then they agreed to a settlement where she would just resign as the Jefferson County Planning Commissioner, which would then put her in alignment with the law. Then they changed their mind. Now they've appealed it to the Supreme Court. When the state asks for compensation for their lawyers, they charge $500 an hour. So they've probably spent $100,000 of taxpayer money defending Lorna on this. Why? It's pretty clear cut. Just follow the law is all we're asking. They're defending her. Now Ferguson is going to be possibly the next governor. I mean, he's got $3 million in the bank right now from his last campaign. He's the Attorney General. It's going to take somebody to knock him off. It is scary.
Well, I I got that I sued Lorna t-shirt at the Skookum deal, and you best believe that thing's on me every time I go bear hunting. I don't do very many grip and grins, but I'm doing one with that shirt this year.
Nice. Be sure to send it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. The best Well, we could probably get into that a little bit later. I did have a couple people ask a couple questions. I'll just throw those in now. One of them was, do you see some ballot box biology coming on the bear and cougar hunting side of things?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, the state's so wide open, very receptive to it. You can see they're doing it in Colorado. You know, we've already had several ballot initiatives in the state to take hounding away, to take trapping away, to take baiting away. You know, we're a very friendly state to them. They're running to the wall for it. It wouldn't surprise me. We haven't heard of anything specific. At least I haven't yet. And they could do it. You know, back in the 90s, Humane Society of the United States ran 6 different ballot initiatives in 6 different states, 1996. And they just ran roughshod. Washington, Idaho, Michigan, Maine. Who else was there? Someone else. All to stop bear hunting, you know, and hounding. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they came back again, you know, and it's an expensive endeavor. You know, we ran the campaign in Maine in 2014, and I think that was 2.7 million, you know, and that was all grassroots funding, hunters, businesses, companies. The other side, I think it was something like 97% of their funding of almost 2.7 million came from the Humane Society of the United States. They have a $200 million bankroll. They could run a ballot initiative in every state if they wanted to, you know, but it does come down to airtime and money. And given the I-5 corridor and the way the state leans already, and then you start talking bears, and all they have to do is grow up a mountain lion with kittens or a bear with cubs, and they start talking this emotional stuff. It's really hard messaging for us. We talk the North American model. People, I mean, most of our guys don't even understand it fully. You want to talk to somebody in Seattle or Renton or Bellevue, they aren't going to get it. The eyes are glossing over. Honestly, people don't care. People don't care about wildlife. They don't care about these decisions. They go with what feels good to them. And so, I mean, a lot of it boils down to making them understand, you know, what happens, you know, at an emotional level to them if this stuff isn't managed right. But it would not surprise me to see something come up in the next couple of years, you know, depending on what happens with the commission and what they do and what happens, you know, as we go further politically. Like I said, it's expensive. So first they attacked at the commission level and the legislative level, and they tried several different ways there for a couple of different sessions, because that's a lot cheaper to do. You know, you're talking millions of dollars, even though they've got a ton of it, they don't like to spend it. So they tried those 2 avenues first before they moved to the ballot box. They're having success here, so they might just keep pounding away and cutting away by regulation, by banning things through the commission that's on their side now. So they could do that here in Washington and just keep pounding away. But it wouldn't surprise me if they threw the ballot. But why would they if they're winning?
Go ahead, Kelsey.
Yeah, it's super easy to manipulate those who are disconnected, and we as a society are so disconnected to wildlife, to the outdoors, and that's where you get people is those emotional campaigns, and it's easy for them. It's easy work, and we are fighting an uphill battle to get people to understand logic and facts and information. But one of the next things I wanted to get into, because I think people will want to know, is about the legal accountability for these commission members. So we're talking Lorna a little bit with how you guys sued her for holding two offices basically. But we see commissioners, including her, breaking rules, acting in conflict of interest, right in front of our eyes all the time. It's so pervasive that you can see it. You don't really have to look very deeply. And if you start to look, just a tiny bit under the surface, it's just unbelievable. The corruption is so pervasive. Like, it's hard to imagine what's really going on behind the scenes and how bad it really is. And I know you guys are working on things right now, but is there legal accountability for these people? Like, it was last meeting where the chair said, I listed several, examples of them breaking rules of procedure, because that was on the agenda for the day. And I asked what type of punishment and accountability there will be. And she said, well, I don't believe in punishment. This is something, we should deal with internally, run up the flagpole when it gets bad. And it has gotten bad in the past. But that was kind of it. So is there accountability, or are they going to run rogue?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. I mean, you sit there and watch those meetings, and I mean, what's her name? Melanie Rowland. She tried to push the beaver policy in the first discussion she ever had of it. And I seem to see this happening in the legislature. So she's got people doing her bidding there. But yeah, they're jumping all over the place, jumping ahead of themselves, not following a procedure, letting policy trump law, and so that's, what we're looking at. That's what we're laying out. That's what we're looking for more from. We did a bunch of PRAs, still waiting on those. We filed that in August. They're supposed to have them December 11th, and here we are. We still haven't gotten any of them. So we're looking at PRAs, we're watching. We've tracked a bunch of stuff, where they've broken policy and procedure, the APA stuff. It's so wide open, and there's so much gray area. Everybody, pounds on the mandate, saying, "Oh, the mandate." There's, when you get down to the legal technicalities, there's a lot of loopholes and a lot of gray area in there that they can, argue back on. That maybe you win, maybe you don't. It's an expensive maybe if you're wrong. But that's where we're going to have to hit them. It's kind of the broken windows theory that hold their feet to the fire for all of the little missteps and, procedural stuff, and that will fix the bigger stuff. And so that's why we're having the fundraisers. It's like I said, going to the judicial branch is all we've got left, and it's an expensive endeavor. So if we want to keep filing lawsuits or, petitioning them or whatever, it's going to be an expensive process. But if we want to save hunting in this state, that's what we have to do, enforce all of the little stuff and hold them accountable for all of those, jumping ahead of themselves and trying to cram things through without due process.
Yeah, it feels like it's felt this way for a while. It's like they just and like you said, the governor down, they just do whatever they want and they don't care. It's like blatantly in our face. And it and nothing happens every time.
Yeah, no, it is, so that's where we got to go with the judicial branch and pray to God that, they follow the law and follow logic. The logic doesn't work too well with the general public. It definitely doesn't work well with this commission. So hopefully the judicial branch is still good enough and, hasn't been corrupted that we can fall back on and, put some sanity back in management.
This new Senate Joint Resolution Bill 8208 looks for the right to hunt, fish, forage, and trap. Seems like a really great way forward if it can get through the House and the Senate and to the ballot, because most of this state does support legal hunting. So I don't know. It just seems like a good way forward, to be able to hold some accountability to these commissioners and whoever else that are looking to infringe upon, that inalienable right that this, to hunt and fish and whatnot, that this bill will provide. Do you think it is, I don't know, it's a glimmer of hope in the future?
It's tough. We've talked about this in our magazine. I think the summer issue, we talked about it. I love the right to hunt and fish and gather, forage, however you want to say it, and it provides some great hurdles, right? Like they have to consider this. It gives you legal footing to jump in and protect things. I love it. None of them have ever been tested. I think there's 23 states that have them. It's never been tested. That, in the judicial branch. So we don't know how it will actually hold up. They can say, you still have the right to hunt. You just took away bear hunt. You can still deer hunt and elk hunt and do all this. Or they can say, well, we just took away one aspect of bear hunting or lion hunting, but you can still hunt them. We just took away hound, we just took away bait, we took away traps, we took away 99% of the ways you can kill a bear. But if you happen to stumble on one, you can still shoot one if it's in this 2-week period. So there's a lot of legal arguments, and we don't know how they'll hold up. But it does give you more legal hurdles for them to consider and cross, and for us to stand on to fight back. In Washington in particular, I'll take all the legal footing I can get and stand there and start swinging. For it to get through in this state, I'm not hopeful, especially during a short session. But we'll see. Crazier things have happened. Who knows? It'd be great.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people campaign on making sure that everybody gets their voice heard on that one, and testify, or however you can get in there and talk to them about it. But yeah, like you're right, like that. I mean, got the right to hunt, but sorry, you can't do it with a gun anymore, right? Like with all these gun rights stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so and that's how a lot of it works. Is here's the gray area, and here's the loophole, and the way around it. Or if you take it to the other end of the extreme, does that mean that the state can't make laws anymore that you have the right to hunt and fish whenever you want? It's the middle of July or June, and you're out elk hunting. So it's, which none of them propose that. All of them say the state still retains power and you can still do this, but that's, if you take it to both extremes, that's where you got it.
I totally see where you're coming from. It is a difficult situation, and hopefully we can clear up some of the vagueness, going forward with the wording, so we can, nail this down a little bit more. It would be nice to have some, or the ability to take any breaking of that, that constitutional right to the state Supreme Court if need be, if things do get really bad here in the future. And with this being Washington State and what we are seeing already, I mean, like you said, it's great to have any extra traction that we can have.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it would be nice for sportsmen and women to get a win in some sort too in the state.
It would be. I mean, it's living here is just like you're just getting beat down. I mean, every time we turn around, if it's not hunting stuff, it's gun stuff. It's not that, it's a new tax. It's like, oh my God, we'll make it stop.
Yeah, it's funny because since the spring bear debacle is when I got way more involved in this stuff, and something happens, like whatever, a petition goes through, and it's like I feel like, oh, okay, take a breath and deal with the next thing. But it's like there's no breath. It's just like constantly something. I'm like, oh God, I don't even know if I can share this anymore on Facebook or in. It's like every day I'm like, God,
Yeah,
it's like
no,
never ending.
yeah. Well, welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's
In 50
crazy.
states, what is it? Who is it? Sisyphus, the Greek fable about Sisyphus, where he pushes the rock up the mountain every day, and the
Yeah,
next morning, got to do it again, and that's what it's like. It's just, but Washington in particular, just Washington, Colorado. I mean, they're just going full bore. And the next magazine, we're closing our magazine right now. That'll be out February 15th. The next magazine, I wrote a piece about connecting the dots between Washington and Colorado. I mean, it's completely connected. You know, people think it's really easy to focus in on one stage or one whatever. When you step back and look at it from a national perspective, you see patterns. You see the groups who are involved. You see their fingerprints all over the place. Humane Society United States. Everybody's talking about Wildlife for All. It came out of nowhere just a couple of years ago, 2, 3 years ago. Came out of nowhere. It was the Southwestern Environmental Policy is what it was called. And they weighed in on everything from environmental stuff to immigration. Yeah, I mean, they were all over the place. They'd sign on lawsuits for stuff just to give it a local flavor. Now all of a sudden they jumped into the Wildlife Society and they've come up with this rewilding idea, and they're pushing it from inside the game commissions and inside the Wildlife Society itself. And we sounded the alarm on that last year and caused a big storm. But their entire board is made up of Humane Society of the United States, Center for Biological Diversity, Sierra Club, Defenders of Wildlife, and Washington is just the perfect toehold for them to grab into because the governor can do whatever he wants. Back east and in other states, sportsman clubs have to elect the commissioners, where you have to have a hunting license for 5 out of the last 10 years or 3 out of the last 5, or you have to be promoted by somebody. There's counterbalances. You have to be confirmed by the Senate or whatever. Washington has none of that. It's just wide open. So Inslee appointed who he wants. So they're digging in right here, pushing their policies. Jeff Davis, who used to be the conservation manager for Washington, is now the head of fishing parks, whatever it's called, in Colorado, and he's moving in lockstep with them. So the piece in the magazine that's coming out is called "Connecting the Dots," and we draw the path and show that Samantha Bruger, who was the head of Washington Wildlife First, is now running the campaign to ban mountain lion hunting in Colorado. We moved there, so it's all interconnected. It's literally a national, if not global, movement to ban hunting.
yeah, they're well funded, well organized, and they've been doing it for a long time, and a lot of us haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, no, it's the only bright spot to everything that's happened in Washington is seeing everybody get energized and moving. I mean, that's something that's great. And Kelsey, you're an adult onset hunter and you just started doing this, and you got sick of it and you could see through the smoke screen. That's great, and that's what we need. Actually, there's another magazine I wrote probably 8 years ago. It's called The Wolf at the Door. As hunters, and this isn't just Washington, this is pretty much nationwide. We don't wait till the wolf is at the door. We wait till he's under the bed and reaching up and grabbing our throat before we do anything, and that's the hard and frustrating part. So hopefully here and in other places, we can beat them back, defend wildlife management, and then stay energized and organized. That's always been the tough part. We go in and run a ballot campaign and everybody's energized, but it's usually like a 2-year campaign, 2 or 3 years. And everybody's beat up, they're tired, they're broke, but if we want to get ahead, you got to have a war chest ready to go. So in the next issue comes up, you have money right there that you could pull from, like they do, because they get to set the playing field. They have hundreds of millions of dollars, and they get to pick and choose where to take the fight. So we have to have a war chest and a front line that is ready to respond. And it's a marathon. And so you need to be able to, in that mindset, and keep that energy going. And a lot of the times it gets hard, because everybody will get, comment on this and fired up and commenting. I worry about burnout, personal capital, individual capital burning out, so a lot of times we don't alert on everything. We haven't talked about the beaver stuff yet. We're watching the beaver stuff, but do we want to get everybody signing that when we have all these gun issues coming up? which is gonna, okay, they might take away beaver trapping, but they're gonna take away everything else with guns over here. So it's kind of it's all important, but it's where do we want to spend the capital at the moment? And it can be real tough sometimes, and you don't want to burn out the people who are voicing this, but there's no shortage of fights. So anywhere and everywhere we can fight back, we're welcome to it.
Yeah, go ahead, Kelsey. I saw you wanted to chime in there on that last one. I cut you off.
Oh, no, I'm okay. I lost my train of thought.
Oh.
I feel like I'm rambling and going down rabbit holes and feel like a conspiracy theorist, and I should have a tin hat on instead of a tin cloth hat.
Yeah, we need to get you like photoshopped into that picture with the dude from like Always Sunny with all the strings on the pictures on the wall. Like
That's what I feel like sometimes. I'm crazy.
No, it's great. I like to take in all this stuff, and whether it allows me to remember it, that's another thing. But I feel like I've learned a lot, and Kelsey, I've kind of taken up most of the time, but I know you had some stuff you wanted to talk about. So if there's anything else you want to ask about, you can.
I just want to ask about how hunters here in Washington and wherever can get involved and support you guys and the mission you guys are on with the Sportsmans Alliance.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, well, of course, everybody's saying it. There's the Conservation Coalition of Washington and how us keep commenting, keep fighting back, testify in the legislatures, submit your comments to the commission and testify there. For us in particular, join, it's $35 and up, as you go up, you get sweatshirts and hats and knives and whatever else. But even the $35 membership is great. Join, you get the magazine, that comes out every quarter. We put a new one out, the nice one on trapping. And support us like that. You can donate. We have a Washington donation page that, that money's going into Washington. It will be spent here. As we've already discussed, the legal fees are not cheap. And that's the only avenue we have left. So anybody that wants to join, thank you. Donate, thank you. If nothing else, you can follow us on social media so you can stay abreast of not only what's going on in Washington, what's going on around the country. And as you start seeing our posts, you'll start connecting more and more dots going, oh, they're pushing dog bills here, and here, and they're pushing predator bills here, and here. And you'll see a bigger picture than just Washington State. On top of that, you can sign up for our newsletter, and that gives you the roundup of the week's stories. You can sign up, when you sign up for that, you can sign up for Washington specific alerts. So when we put an alert out, you'll get it in email. You can click the button and take action right from there through all the pre-written comments and such that if you're doing that, you can do that. So really there's any number of ways you can support us. If you have an outdoor business, we have business partnerships that get you ads in the magazine or whatever, and you can write those off because of defending your business, your business interests. So just about any way you want to get involved and support us, you can do it.
Do you have any events on the horizon? I know you were talking about maybe, in the Ellensburg area, but I know the Northeast Washington people really want to get involved. You're in Northeast Washington too, or Spokane area?
I'm in Spokane, right? I'm Liberty Lake. I'm like right on the border. I can see Idaho and it looks like freedom. I feel like I'm in Shawshank Redemption or something. I can see the freedom over there. Yeah, so future events, anybody that wants to help, please info@sportsmansalliance.org and send an email in. We're talking about the Portland, Vancouver area, because that's another, major city center area. Plus, there's a lot of outdoor companies down there, Leopold and, whatever. Can't remember. There's a bunch of different outdoor companies there in Portland that could come too. And of course, Spokane's the next biggest city over here, and I'm right here. And so we're looking at those. I mean, and we were talking Yakima, Ellensburg area, which might be good. It's like whatever the people want. I worry about, will it be, if we do the Ellensburg, Yakima, big enough draw to get people there to offset costs, set things. Like I said, we haven't done a lot of these. And so it's kind of the grassroots up thing, but if that's what people want, okay, let's give it a shot, I'm right here in Washington, and so yeah, future events, we're looking at Portland area, Portland, Vancouver area, Spokane, maybe more central state, cities, or mountains, area, whatever the people want, where we think we can get a big turnout, and if folks want it, we'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I'll probably run like a poll on the Conservation Coalition of Washington Instagram page, and maybe throw up something on there and see, kind of get, we got like 1,500 followers, something like that, but get a pulse of the people that are paying attention and see where they would like to have something in Eastern Washington.
Yeah, well, that'd be good. That'd actually be a good way to start it off. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll put a bunch of links. I don't know if you got anything you want to send me for quick links for, where people can go to donate. I'm sure I can find them myself as well, but I'll throw those in the show notes and on the posts and stuff like that, so people can find it easier. I know I've had a few people ask me I couldn't make it to the event. How can I still help? And stuff like that. So that'll be good to get to everybody.
Definitely, I can send you that membership page, send you the sign up page for the newsletter, and send you the Washington donation page. Yeah,
that's sweet. Yeah, and it's I think it's awesome that you guys make it a point to make sure everybody knows that the money's being spent here. I know that's been a question people have had too. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I thought that turnout was great. I'd love to help anytime, get another one going or whatever we need to do. So I appreciate your time. I appreciate you coming on here. Kelsey, did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I just wanted to thank you, Brian. We really appreciate all you were doing, and just the Sportsmans Alliance in general. You guys are killing it, and we are so blessed to have you guys behind us here in Washington.
Well, no, thank you guys. I mean, we wouldn't be here and couldn't be here if it wasn't for, people willing to push back and stand up. There's so much we can do, but we are spread across the nation, so it's going to take the people doing it. It's tough to do it from a central location nationwide, and while we're working in all the 50 states. So we, rely just as heavily on you guys as you are on us. So yeah, it's a great partnership, and thank you.
Yeah. So check out the show notes if you're listening. Again, Brian, I really appreciate what you guys do. I thank you for taking the time tonight talking to us. Kelsey, thanks for backing me up with some brains. And I hope to talk to you guys again soon.
Bet you anytime. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Andy.
sliding Bronco. Straight honey, back road, take it anywhere you wanna go. Put your money where your mouth is. Sugar high downtown, up in your throat. Bronco. Down from the mountains to the valleys, the blacktop sea where the tide rolls in. Tearing up the roof, now California rally. Ripping through the streets till the pavement is straight, honey, back road. Take it in.